Hi there, welcome to Business Leadership Podcast. In this podcast, I interview successful business leaders and industry experts to help you grow your business. I truly believe that sometimes single insight can completely change your business directions and allow you to achieve your business goals. In this episode, I had a discussion with Kevin Knebl. Kevin is an international speaker when it comes to sales and marketing. He's also a coach, he's a trainer and author of Sales Revolution in social media. And he's been working with a lot of business leaders over the years and helping them navigate when it comes to building, both marketing and sales strategy. During our discussion, Kevin and I went over many different interesting and very important topics around the both sales, business development, and marketing. And if you're a business owner or business leader who's trying to scale a company or grow a team or simply trying to grow a organization itself with what we just gone through for the last couple of years, you don't want to miss this discussion. One of the reasons Kevin's insights are so powerful because his ideas are very simple and yet very, very practical. You can easily implement his idea into your sales or marketing strategy and build your approach to your business. So if you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Until next time, enjoy. Hi guys, welcome to Business Leadership Podcast. Today, my guest is somebody very special, where sales and marketing both meets in this digital world. A lot of challenges, a lot of business leaders are up against this challenge recently. And, I'm also up against this challenge as well. We all trying to grow a company. We all trying to build a, business where we left it before COVID. And with us is Kevin Knebl. Kevin is the author of us, Social Media Sales Revolution, and he's also has been teaching sales, marketing, social media, all interesting topic for so many years. Kevin, welcome to podcast. I'm looking forward to learning from you, from your wealth of knowledge.
Well, thank you, Gurmeet. It's wonderful to be here. And even though it's officially past Labor Day, I have not given up my Hawaiian shirt.
Beautiful, beautiful. So Kevin, from your perspective, what do you see recent changes or that happen in your world, both sales or marketing or in just a digital world? Where do you see with the current disruption we just gone through for the last couple of years, where do you see the biggest impact on this area?
Wow, what a great question. Well, everybody knows that the last couple of years have been kind of unique with COVID and lockdowns and all that. So all of us, one way or another, have been affected by the COVID, pandemic. One of the things that I've noticed, really to answer your question, is many people now are figuring out, how do we do our jobs? How do we do what we do both online and offline? Prior to COVID, there were many people whose businesses were really offline.
Yeah.
With COVID, and I work with a tremendous number of people in the financial services world. Most of these people have had to figure out, how do we find clients? How do we engage with them in a way that's not salesy or pushy? How do we start to build some know, like, trust? And how do we do that both online and offline? So I guess the first thing that comes to mind in terms of an answer is, how do we succeed leveraging online and offline, because they're not mutually exclusive any longer?
Mm-hmm. But in an arena of sales or marketing, when building a rapport with the customers, building a relationship, building that trust, and we know how to do that in a person. Definitely in a social media is a little bit different. But so is it a same skill set that you bring in a social media, or is it a totally different skill set we have to learn when we go online, or do we have to kind of bridge the gap in between those two?
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
This next statement, tell me if this next statement is true or false in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
All things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to people who they know, like, and trust. Would you say that's true or not true?
That's true. That's absolutely true.
It's absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice how nowhere in that statement was the word online or offline?
Yeah.
So gravity only works one way. No matter where you go, I have a pen in my hand. Every time I drop it, 100% of the time it will go down. No exceptions. If I did it in India, if I did it in China, if I did it in Germany or Jamaica or South America, gravity works the same everywhere, because gravity is a principle. What makes it a principle is that it doesn't change.
Yeah.
Well, your question is an intelligent question. And my answer would be, a communication tool is only as effective as the communication skills of the person using the tool. So when we look at social media, I just look at social media like it's another communication tool. So
Hmm.
a pen and paper is a communication tool, a telephone, a fax machine, email. But if somebody is a slick salesy commission breath salesperson before they get on social media, the odds are pretty good they're also going to be a slick salesy commission breath salesperson on social media.
Hmm.
So I don't really think that there's much difference between offline and online. Where what the mistake I see most people making is they spend a considerable amount of time trying to get good at social media when they should really be getting good at conversation and relationship building skills. Because
Yeah.
conversation and relationship building skills are not dependent on online or offline. Conversation and relationship building skills are wherever you are. Does that,
Hmm.
does that make sense conceptually, Gurmeet?
Well, that's a very interesting point, Kevin. That's so true. But there's always lines a little blurry. Social media, you trying to have a fun. A lot of people having a fun with it, right? So when you cross a line that you having a fun and being professional and sticking to your communication skills, right? So there's a little bit line blurry hit. Do I go too far in being a casual and having a fun, or do I stay professional as a salesperson?
That's a great question. And I think it's going to depend on the individual's personality. So if you went to a cocktail party or a networking meeting,
Hmm.
you would meet all kinds of different people. Some people would be the real quiet people that kind of stand in the corner with their glass of Chardonnay and they're a little bit shy, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way they're wired. Other people are going to be the people that are the life of the party no matter where they go. They're going to be
Uh-huh.
running the show. So if you were to ask yourself, well, which one of those people is professional and which one isn't professional? Well, they could both be professional, right?
Yeah.
It's just that they have different personalities. So they're going to use the communication tool. You and I are talking about social media right now. They're going to use it in a way that probably reflects their personality. Another thought on that, real quick. Anytime you are forced to try to look or appear or be a certain way, if that is not your normal way of being, it's not going to be natural. So
Hmm.
I'm going to say something that's going to probably sound a little ironic.
Go for it.
I've been able to make millions and millions of dollars using social media, but not in a salesy, commission breath kind of way. And I've helped my clients generate hundreds of millions of dollars using social media. If you were to put a gun to my head and say, Kev, I know there's lots of reasons why your clients make a lot of money as it relates to social media, but if you had to nail it down to one, Kev, one primary reason why they tend to do quite well on social media, my answer might be a little surprising. My answer would be the reason why my clients make so much money using social media isn't because I turn them into social media nerds. It's because I help them relax and be a little bit more normal and relatable. And because they're normal and relatable, they can build know, like, trust more quickly. So it's not, I mean, I would never advocate be unprofessional,
Hmm.
but I would advocate within your personality, you know, be normal. If you're an outgoing person, go ahead and be outgoing. If you're an introvert, go ahead and be an introvert. There's no magic wand that's going to turn you into something you're not. Make
Hmm.
sense?
Very, very interesting. But this I think a lot of business leaders struggle with that as well, right? We work so hard to build the companies. We so consumed with a lot of other items, and social media is something they seldom spend time on. But I think business leaders need to get out of your comfort zone and start spending a little bit of time on that. Because if you can tell somebody about your business, who else gonna speak better than you about your business, right?
Absolutely. I'm a very simple guy, Gurmeet. I
Hmm.
say to myself, if I want to go fishing, I should probably go where the fish are.
Yeah.
So CEOs, and I work almost exclusively with CEOs.
Hmm.
CEOs need to understand, people like me, I'm not trying to make a CEO into a social media star. I just appeal to the CEO's common sense. I say, if you're going to go fishing, wouldn't you want to go where the fish are? And they go,
Yeah.
well, yeah. And I say, well, there's almost 900 million people on LinkedIn. There's
Yeah.
2 billion people on Facebook. There's 300 million on Twitter. If you are going to intentionally avoid where your prospects are, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Why would any rational, intelligent human being that's looking
Mhm.
to grow a business
Yeah.
intentionally avoid where the business is?
Mhm. Does that expectation change, Kevin? Media to media. So if I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm trying to appeal to my audience, their expectation is different from me in a LinkedIn than they will have it on a Facebook, or they would have on an Instagram, or they would have on a Twitter, right? Their expectations are different from me than no matter as I change different channels, I guess, right?
Well, to some degree. So I look at that. I often use metaphors when I coach and when I teach and when I speak on stage. So, what town are you in, Gurmeet?
Right now I'm in Woodbridge, just north of Toronto.
Woodbridge?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have not been to Woodbridge. I've been to
Yeah.
Toronto, but I'm going to make a prediction. You tell me if I'm wrong or right. I'm going to predict that in the town you are in right now, there's probably a country club.
Yep.
And in that country club, I could probably go into the restaurant and order a Budweiser beer. Oh, well, you're in Canada, so I would order a I would a Molson.
Molson, there you go.
So I could get a Molson at the country club in Woodbridge.
Yeah.
I would be surrounded with people that look like they belong in a country club in Woodbridge. But I'm going to also predict that in the town you're in right now, there's probably a dive bar, kind of a sketchy place where I could go in there and I could order a Molson in there too,
Yeah.
but I would have a different clientele. I could
Mm-hmm.
also, there's probably in your town a pizza parlor. And in that pizza parlor, there's probably families with little kids, maybe a pool table, maybe a pinball machine. I could probably order a Molson in the pizza parlor too, but it'd be a different clientele. So your question, is there a different expectation for different social media platforms? Yeah, know your clientele, know where the people hang out, and act appropriately for the clientele.
Very interesting.
Does that make
So
sense?
yeah, so you can still do whatever you want to do, but all you have to do is just change a little bit of behavior. You just have to be mindful of what's around you.
Well, it just makes sense. And know
Yeah.
your surroundings, right? I mean, as a professional speaker, the first rule is know your audience, right?
Yeah.
If I'm going to go on LinkedIn, I'm not going to post videos of kittens.
Yeah.
And now I might post that on Facebook. Why would I post it on Facebook? Because in the Facebook world, that would be more appropriate. Just like in a dive bar, you're probably going to hear a lot of swearing, but you're
Mm-hmm.
probably not going to hear a lot of swearing in a country club.
Yeah.
But you could order a Molson in both of those places. But in a dive bar, you're probably going to be interacting with people that are hanging out in a dive bar. And in
Mm-hmm.
a country club, you're going to be interacting with people with little alligators on their shirts and khaki pants.
Yeah.
I mean, know your audience is the number one rule. If you're a business owner and you're looking to sell a product or a service, know your clientele, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, I think most business leaders, they LinkedIn is their go-to tool, I think, these days, right? Because that's where, the businesses are, that's all the professional CEOs are. So,
Sure.
business leaders who wants to try, start this a journey of, start getting out and start, building business. How do they go about it? Do they need to build a storyline first? Build a story, then you want to get the message, and what is the process? Do you recommend any process that they go through? How do they get better at this stuff?
Well, do I recommend a process? Yes. CEOs like you're describing hire me every day usually to grow their businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I always appeal to common sense. Most people make things far more complicated than they need to be. What I do is I make things simple. I don't dumb them down. I just bring things down to their simplest points.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question just on a tangent here for a second.
Okay.
That will touch on what you're asking me, and then I'll flesh out the rest of my answer.
Yeah.
Gurmeet, can you think of any challenge you've ever had in any area of your life? Financial, relationship, spirituality?
Tons of them. Tons of them. I lived through them.
Can you think of any challenge you've ever had in any area of your life that you solved by adding complexity to it?
No, actually simplifying, more importantly, the answer, when I look inward, the answers are, I don't know the answers already. I just have to look a little deeper instead of looking out, where the answers are. So I already know the answer. I just have to look a little deeper. But yeah, definitely, you have to simplify before you find the answer.
So your response is profound in its insight, okay? Because what you just said was there's no challenge I've ever had in my life that I solved by making it more complex. Now, isn't it interesting that when we're faced with challenges, we innocently forget that
Yeah.
and we start looking at complexity? And what we have to do is we have to train ourselves to remember in every situation, simplicity is the answer, not complexity. Okay. So your question was, how does a CEO go about this? Well, even though you and I have not rehearsed any of this, I have no idea what questions you're going to ask me. I would predict that you can give me the correct last word in the next sentence.
Yeah.
You only have one chance to make a good first
Impression.
perfect. So that was true 1,000 years ago. It's true now, and it's going to be true 1,000 years from now if we're still around.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Okay. So you're asking me about CEOs on LinkedIn. When I work with my clients, the very, very first thing we do is we go to their LinkedIn profile and we make sure that their LinkedIn profile is delivering the correct first impression. We're not trying to make them look like the smartest person in the room. We're not trying to make them look intimidating or so impressive that you got to bow down in front of them. We're making sure that they're delivering the right first impression, because if you don't deliver the right first impression, whether it's online or offline,
Mm-hmm.
you are literally shooting yourself in the foot because you only have one chance to make a good first impression.
Yeah.
So when I'm working with a CEO, the first thing we do is we make sure that their profile on LinkedIn is delivering the right first impression. Are they clearly articulating their work history? Are they covering why they got into the business that they're in? Are they covering their educational background? Again, we're not trying to make anybody look like the master of the universe, but we're trying to make sure that they deliver the right first impression, because everything else comes after that. One more thing, and then I'll shut up for a second, is there's no reason to be spending a tremendous amount of time every day on LinkedIn. I teach a simple 15 to 20 minute per day routine. That's it. If you know what to do, and most people don't, not because they're stupid, because this isn't what they do.
Yeah.
If you know what to do, I teach what to do 15 to 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week, to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish using LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So it's like a gym. You don't need to spend 5 hours in a gym. If you know how to exercise different muscle groups, you can get into the gym, do
Get
your
out and
workout,
get out.
and get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, very interesting. Hey, let me ask you this: a lot of business leaders I know, or business owners I know,
Yeah.
they can, they don't want to spend time on it, and they will find somebody, social media gurus, and they will delegate this to the person. Hey, could you build this for me? Could you do this for me?
Mhm.
What do you say to these business leaders? Like, they don't want to take initiative, but they find somebody in the team and they say, listen, could you do this for me?
Yeah.
Unless you do this by yourself, unless you solely involved in this stuff, could you really get at that first impression that you're talking about?
If they're so busy, why don't they outsource their exercise?
Yeah.
What's the answer to that question?
Yeah, you can't. You possibly can't.
That's correct. You can't pay somebody else to do your push-ups for you.
Yeah.
So I don't care how busy a CEO is. Anybody can find an hour to make sure that they're delivering a good first impression. Now, after that, I work with a tremendous number of business owners that outsource maybe 80% of their LinkedIn activity to a trusted right-hand person. So the answer to your question is there are certain things that you can delegate and outsource, but there are definitely other things that you cannot delegate and outsource. Okay. It always comes down to an ROI. If I can show a CEO, and I assure you I can, if I can show a CEO, no matter how busy he is or she is, that investing 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week on LinkedIn is going to put significant 6 or 7 figures in their pocket, No rational, intelligent human being is going to say, I don't have time.
Yeah,
But you
definitely.
have to explain it in a way they understand it. That's
Yeah.
why I use that's why I use the exercise metaphor. Why don't you just outsource your push-ups?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, well, I can't do that, Kev. Well, why
yeah,
can't you do it? Well, you can't listen to this closely. You can't outsource relationship building. Now, people at the highest level of business understand that it's always about relationships.
yeah,
People at lower levels, they don't understand always that it's about relationships. They think it's about transactions. Transactions are for lower level relation. Actually, I don't want to say this the wrong way. Everybody is involved in the relationship business, whether they realize it or not.
yeah.
It's just that the higher you get up the corporate ladder, you better be pretty darn good at relationships. Otherwise, you won't be there very long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there different technique that you gotta use in a digital media to build those relationship Kevin? And a person is different. Definitely business leaders, they have to learn technology, they have to learn a social media. There's a little bit, the approaches to build that, how do you give somebody something on a social media? It could be recommendation, it could be adding some value to them. So you start building that relationship in a social media. Are there different sets of rules when it comes to LinkedIn to build that relationship that you would build it offline?
No. It's just that offline, we would have the advantage of eye contact, body language, tone of voice, etc.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn, you might not have that advantage, but people are still people. You see, when I asked you the question, all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust. And you told me that was true.
Yeah.
By the way, I've never had any human being on earth be stupid enough to say that that isn't true. Because you would have to be a special level of brain dead
Yeah.
to disagree with that. But what you and don't take this the wrong way, what
No way.
you and everybody else, when they first hear that statement, what they don't understand is the all-encompassing nature of it. Just like gravity. Well, Kevin, every time you drop your pen, it goes in your hand, but it might be different in China. No,
Yeah.
it's not going to be any different in China. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes it a principle. What I'm pointing at, Gurmeet, is I'm pointing at principles. What most coaches and so-called social media gurus, by the way, most people that call themselves gurus, they do that because they can't spell charlatan. Okay. So what most people are doing is they're chasing the strategy of the month. They're not focusing on principles. When you focus on principles, the strategies usually reveal themselves. So I'm pointing at principles and saying, what doesn't change? What doesn't change is know, like, trust. I can build know, like, trust with you, whether it's online or offline. That's
Yeah.
no problem. Okay. It's just like what you basically asked me was, Kevin, do you have different conversation skills on email versus telephone? No, because my conversation skills are my conversation skills.
Yeah.
Whether I'm going to do it on email or whether I'm going to do it on telephone, the communication device might change, but my conversation skills don't change.
Yeah.
Right. By the way, have you ever heard of a guy named Dale Carnegie?
Yeah.
So Dale Carnegie wrote a book in 1936 called How to Win Friends and Influence People. One of the 30 principles in that book is take a sincere interest in other people. Notice it doesn't say take a sincere interest in other people online, but not offline.
Yeah.
Or take a sincere interest in people offline, but not online. Because it doesn't matter. If I take a sincere interest in you, I'm taking a sincere interest in you.
But Dale Carnegie, when he was around, there was no much online, I guess, right?
There was no online.
I'm joking.
And you're actually emphasizing my point.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Dale Carnegie was teaching a principle.
Exactly.
And what I'm saying is most people have innocently forgotten
Yeah.
the principles that existed before Al Gore invented the internet.
How big the distraction plays a role in this, Kevin? Definitely there's so much, technology distraction. There's so much content distraction. There's so many people, posting what their, the day has been, their all the good news in a social media, especially LinkedIn. That gotta distract that, when you're trying to build a relationship with somebody that you're trying to, deliver value to other people, that gotta play a role in it, that distracting you or distracting the other person is pretty challenging for you to build that relationship with somebody.
What evidence do you have of that?
If I get 20 messages, in all day, definitely it's very hard to tell that, which one is genuine and which one's not. You just bombarded with the tons of messages. People get, I'm sure people get tons of messages on a LinkedIn or everywhere, on a social media.
Yeah, you, me, and everybody else. We get bombarded with this stuff.
Yeah.
But you can see the sales pitches coming 5 miles away. So if I'm trying to deliver value to you, and I want you to hear me literally, I'm not saying I'm trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm trying to deliver value to you. If I'm really trying to deliver value to you and I have evidence that I'm trying to deliver value to you, am I not going to get your attention?
Yeah, it depends. If you really find out what's important to me and you deliver value on that, definitely you will get my attention.
Oh, wait a minute. Didn't I just point that out with Dale Carnegie? Take a sincere interest in other people?
Yeah.
So here's the answer to your question, and I know I cut you off, and I apologize.
No worries.
You're only getting distracted with shameless self-promotions and thinly veiled and not so thinly veiled sales pitches. When somebody shows up in your life, whether it's in a professional or a personal context, and they sincerely want to deliver value to you, they will get your attention.
Mm-hmm.
The trick here's the trick, and it's funny that I'm using the word trick. Most people in sales, most people in business have been taught various forms of manipulation instead of being taught how to just be a sincere and authentic human being. Oh, Kevin, you sound like a goody two-shoes. Oh, no, I don't. I sound like somebody that understands human nature.
Mm-hmm.
This all goes back to know, like, trust. Matter of fact, as the bar gets set lower and lower, and it is being set lower and lower, this is good news for people like you and I who are not interested in racing to the bottom.
Yeah.
When you come across as a sincere and authentic person who truly wants to deliver value to somebody, you are like a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem getting the attention of a high-powered CEO, because all I have to do is figure out what would deliver value to this person and then go down that road. This is not complex. This is simple.
Yeah. Very interesting. Where does the marketing play roles in this, Kevin, to get attention? Definitely we all, strive to get attention from people that we want to build a relationship with. Does marketing play a role in that to get attention, or simply just social media strategy will work for you? How do you get attention for the first place?
It all goes back to taking a sincere interest. So I'm going to say a couple things that may initially sound crazy. A lot of things I say initially sound crazy until I unpack it and I explain the logic, and then people go, wait a minute, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
So let me point out a couple things.
Okay.
People often look at me and they think, and they say things to me like, oh, Kevin, you're a marketing guru. Oh, Kevin, you're a marketing genius. And they mean well, but I tell them, I am not a marketing guru. I am not a marketing genius. I've never studied marketing in my life, and I would rather crawl over barbed wire naked. Now, usually when I say that, I get their attention.
Yeah.
And then they go, well, wait a minute. You seem to do very well in business and in social media, but you're telling me you're not interested in marketing. So I'm going to make some claims right now that some of your viewers are probably going to have an issue with. But that's only because we don't have enough time to truly unpack this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The way it looks to me, Gurmeet, is that marketing is very well designed for selling commodities. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
If I got a job at Dunkin' Donuts, you have Dunkin' Donuts where you are in Ontario?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If I got it, or Tim Hortons, right? That's where you guys, that's where you guys have.
Yeah.
If I got a job at Tim Hortons, all I would have to do is stand behind the counter and wait for the customer to come in and tell me that they want a glazed donut and a cup of coffee. I don't need to have ways to go find people and be found by people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have great conversation skills because all I have to do is take their order. And I don't really have to build like trust because I am in a commodity business. There's nothing wrong with commodity businesses. I'm just pointing out marketing is very well designed for commodity businesses. Most of my clients are in intangible, high-dollar services, financial advisors, insurance agents, CPAs, attorneys, people like that. So here's a very controversial statement. marketing is a complete waste of time if you're a financial advisor, CPA, tax attorney, or attorney. Now, there's people listening to me right now that are watching this. Hello,
Okay.
people in the future. And they're going, Kevin, you sound crazy. Yeah, I might sound crazy, but I have all the evidence to back me up. In high dollar intangible services, it's not about marketing. It's about personal relationships. So what I see a lot in the marketing, in the marketplace, is that people that are not in commodity businesses are being sold marketing approaches that are designed for commodity businesses. And then they come to me after spending years and millions of dollars in marketing and advertising and not getting the results they want. And they come to me and they go, Kev, what am I doing wrong? And I tell them, you're trying to market your high touch personal business using methods that are designed to market commodities. No wonder it doesn't work. So what I do with CEOs is I don't teach them how to market to everybody. I teach them how to create sincere and authentic conversations with the people that they want to do business with. Again, I could go for hours on this, but am I to any degree answering your question?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to understand, because a lot of marketing experts will say the marketing is not only about, selling, it's about, building brands, is building telling story, getting the message out or branding, all this stuff.
Can I pause
Sure,
you?
go for it.
Are you a brand?
At a small business, you're not, as a large corporation.
No. I didn't ask you that. Listen to my question.
Okay.
Let me slow down. Are you a brand?
Personal brand, yes.
No, you're not. You're a human being.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got you.
No, I'm not trying to play semantics with you.
Okay.
Dunkin' Donuts we have been so bastardized in our language
Mm-hmm.
that we are attempting to turn human beings into brands.
Got you.
Let that sink in for a second. Are you a brand? Now, there will be people out there watching this going, Kevin's crazy. Yeah, but how come I make millions and you don't? Oh, did I get your attention? So what I'm saying is branding makes total sense when you're selling a product or a service or a commodity. But you as a human, you're not a brand, you're a human. But we just hear all this bullshit all day long from marketing experts who are broke most of the time, by the way, who are trying to tell you how you're supposed to market. If they're so good at marketing their business, how come they're chasing you for business and you're not chasing them? Interesting. Kevin asks really simple questions. If somebody's methods for attracting clients are so good, why are they running around trying to attract clients?
Yeah.
So again, I say some things that are pretty strong. I try to temper it with humor, but I have no interest in turning a human being into a brand. Now, somebody could argue with me, oh, Kim Kardashian. Well, okay, Kim Kardashian, but you're not Kim Kardashian.
Very interesting.
Now, but I have lots of friends who are personal branding experts.
Yeah.
But I don't get into arguments with them. I just kind of sit back and I go, you can always tell a tree by the fruit it bears.
Yeah. In small, medium companies, that I take your point is for small, medium companies, up to 1,000 employees, 2,000 employees, definitely, it's all relationship. That's how you grow a company. That's how you build companies. And definitely, you don't need to establish a brand. You just need to build those relationships and those partnership with the people that will take you much further, right? So
yeah, but is Elon Musk a brand? Is Bill Gates a brand? No, they're human beings, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, are you telling me up to 999 employees relationships are important, but at 1,000 plus they're not? I don't think that's what you're telling me, right? Yeah. I think we're living in a world where people just don't really think things through, right? Yeah, whether I have one person working for me or 20,000 people working for me, I'm still in the relationship business. Relationships with my internal employees, relationships with my peers, and relationships with my prospects, strategic alliances. That's the thing that people miss. They think at some level the relationship aspect ends. It never ends.
Yeah.
It's because you're human.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question on this. It's a relationship. A very interesting point you mentioned, actually. I struggle with this sometimes. We always tell our team that, hey, we're not in technology. Even though we run technology business, we're not in a technology business. We are in a people and the relationship business. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So in a company, when you grow companies, like let's say you have 30, 50, 100 of people. Now, to your point, those people, they all have their way of building a relationship. They have their way of building trust with the clients. How do you manage it? How do you get a hold of it? How do you make sure that it still stay in your lane, the kind of relationship you want to build as a business owner, not that it's going in a many different directions, because people could build different relationships in a company.
So my answer is going to sound vague, but I'm not trying to be vague.
Okay.
You do the best you can. I can't make somebody do something, right? I can only encourage them and show them, I can incentivize them, right? But it all comes from the top down. If the leader of an organization understands that they truly are in the relationship business, then they're going to figure out ways to instill that in the minds of their employees, right? It's no more complicated than that, right? Otherwise, it's just talk, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, there is no magic wand to make everybody in a company all sing from the same songbook. You can just do the best you can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can try to create company culture and all these other buzzwords, but at the end of the day, you can only do the best you can do. That's all you can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I was running a business with 300 employees, I would make sure that part of the onboarding process was a training on how we operate internally amongst each other and how we operate with the public. And then I would figure out maybe a couple times a year various ways to deepen that understanding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, you can always tell a person's priorities. Just look at where they spend their time and their money. If a company is claiming we're in the relationship business, but then you ask them, what do you do to deepen the relationship skills of your employees? And they go, well, we don't do anything. Well, you're full of crap, right?
Yeah.
You're saying you're in the relationship business, but there's no evidence to support. So this is really simple. I work with organizations typically that not only say that something, but they live it, right? So the usually the attitude of the leader trickles down through the organization, usually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But did that get a little bit challenging for the last couple of years in a disruption, because we not working in the same environment anymore, right? And everybody has social media pages, right? So if you're not communicating the same level the way we did it before, definitely it created challenges, because definitely it's your social media link, your LinkedIn page is your LinkedIn page. No matter how many guidelines you put together, how many protocols you put together, hey, this is what we gotta say in a LinkedIn. This is how we need to build a relationship. But you can't influence as much that you could in an office environment.
Notice my hesitation. I don't know that that's entirely accurate,
Okay.
right? There are some bosses who, now that the pandemic seems to be mostly over, they're telling everybody to get back in the office. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying that's their choice. And there's other CEOs that are saying, the last couple of years, most of you have worked remotely and we've done quite well. If it ain't broke, let's not fix it, right? Yeah. Maybe we can do a hybrid, 50% in the office, I don't know. Every business has to figure that out for themselves. What I do know is that all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to people they know, like, and trust. The smartest thing a business person can do, and I would encourage anybody to try and challenge me on this.
Yeah.
The smartest thing a business person can do, regardless of industry, regardless of role, would be to deepen their understanding of how to build know, like, trust. You see, the moment I make that statement, all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to people I know, like, and trust. And you go, yes, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
I've already checkmated you.
Yeah.
Okay. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
Because there are no exceptions. It's like gravity. Any challenge an organization has comes back to know, like, trust. Oh, Kevin, what about interest rates? Still comes back to know, like, trust, right? What about if the wrong person's in the White House? Still comes back to know, like, it will always come back to know, like, trust.
Yeah.
It's that we don't always see that. we get distracted, to your earlier point, we get distracted with silly politics, we get distracted with international events, and we forget, wait a minute, I'm in the know, like, trust business,
Yeah.
right? You made some very good points. You own an IT business, but you're actually not in the IT business.
No, in the people
You're
business.
you're in the people business.
Yeah.
Now you're the way you transact money is through the delivering of services related to your IT business.
Yeah.
But you could be the best IT person in the world. That doesn't mean you're going to be successful, because it still comes back to the know, like, trust.
Yeah, it's not an advantage, it's a disadvantage to me, being an IT person. Usually, as IT professional, it's hard for us to build those trust, because we are taught logic all of our life from our computer science degrees or computer engineering degrees, right? So we taught logic, but business is about, as you mentioned, it's trust and relationship. You gotta pick up that skill, you gotta learn that.
And there's an irony in there, because there's nothing more logical than know, like, trust.
Yeah.
When you really think about that.
Yeah.
At first glance, somebody might say, oh, that's all woo-woo, that's all fuzzy, huggy stuff.
Yeah.
Is it? Is it really? I mean, what could be more logical than the fact that you would do business with me if you know me, like me, and trust me? That's as logical as gravity.
Yeah.
Right? So most of my time is helping people simplify and realize they're making things way too complex, right? If I can get people to remember that they are in the people business, then the behaviors they exhibit will reflect that. But if they forget that they're in the people business and they think they're in the IT business, to use IT as an example, they're going to think they need more tape on their glasses and more pocket protectors.
Yeah.
No. More tape on your glasses and more pocket protectors is not going to get you more clients.
Yeah.
What's going to get you more clients is know, like, trust.
Yeah. So, business leaders who are watching, I'm sure a lot of, business CEOs who are watching, I think that this trust we were talking about, Kevin, or building a relationship, it gotta start from leadership, right? You gotta demonstrate as a leader to your team that, hey, listen, you can build the trust with them, so they can go build the trust with their, with your staff. So, what are some of the things a business leader can do to build good trust or relationship with their company? I mean, that's where the leadership's got to start, right? Their people got to trust. You got to have that bond with your staff, so they can go take care of your clients. So is that something that changed? With the social media, everybody's on a Zoom now. We're working from home. We still have to build that trust with our teams and our people. Did that change a little bit, building that on digitally, that in a person?
I think it's actually easier now. I think it's easier now than before the pandemic, because before the pandemic, if you were 100% offline, the pandemic probably forced you to get online.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, online, you have access literally to the entire planet, right? The internet is everywhere.
Yeah.
So prior to the pandemic, you probably had limited people that you could build know, like, trust with. But now, and I understand scalability, I get all that.
Yeah.
You can't build close relationships with everybody.
Yeah.
But I'll go back to Dale Carnegie. Another one of Dale Carnegie's 30 principles is take a sincere interest in other people. You see, Gurmeet, do you have a significant other?
Yes.
What's that person's first name?
Rita.
Rita.
Mm-hmm.
When you first met Rita, were you attracted to Rita?
Of course.
So I'm assuming because you were attracted to her, and I'm assuming because you're an honest person, you instantly grabbed her and started trying to kiss her, right?
Not right away, definitely.
Well, why not? Why not, Gurmeet? You told me you were attracted to her. Why didn't you grab her and start trying to kiss her?
Yeah. You got to build a relationship. Definitely there's that, time goes, but you got to build a trust and relationship. All those,
So pause.
Yeah.
You didn't grab Rita and start trying to kiss her because you realized that would be a really foolish thing to do, right? And also you're not a creepy guy.
Yeah.
Now I want you to hear what I'm saying. In business, 99% of the people in business have been taught to go find their prospects and jump on them like a pit bull on a mailman and hit them with the elevator pitch and with their marketing. Isn't that the equivalent of walking up to Rita and trying to kiss her? So what I'm going to predict you did with Rita, tell me if I'm right or wrong, is I'm going to predict that you started a conversation with Rita. And then you escalated that to a cup of coffee or a movie or a date. And I will tell you exactly when you kissed Rita for the very first time. The very first time you kissed Rita was when you had established enough know-like trust.
Yeah.
You didn't think of it in the clinical terms that I'm describing it in.
Yeah.
What I just did for you was I just deconstructed
Mhm.
know-like trust in your interpersonal relationship. It is no different in business,
Yeah.
but people think it is. So
Yeah.
when people say to me, well, Kevin, it's different in business, I say, is the gravity in your home different in the gravity in your office? And they go, no.
Yeah.
And I go, well, then why do you think you can shortcut the know-like trust process in business? You can't.
Yeah.
You see, the reason that Rita took an interest in you is because you took an interest in her.
Yeah.
That's why. That's actually the answer to your question. How does a CEO who's running a big business, they can't build relationships with everybody. There's only so much time in a day. But they need to look at the organization and just ask themselves, strategically, where would it be intelligent for me to build? No, maybe it's with managers, maybe it's with regional vice presidents. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's really not that complex. Figure out, where are the points where it will be very important for me to build some know-like trust so that when in the good times or the bad times, the wheels don't come off the bus.
That's an excellent point, Kevin, actually. We were early on in a business when I was learning, I didn't have a sales background. I was learning sales. I was trying to go through all the training and all the stuff. We were looking at building a sales process and doing all this stuff. I know we have a 5-step process. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We were going through that stuff and I was stuck. We were not making a progress. So at one point when we were frustrated, we said, listen, forget about the sales stuff. We're just gonna be in a giving business. We're gonna give as much we can, the value. The person in front of you, just deliver value as much you can.
Yes.
What can you offer? What knowledge can you, what book can you send them? What can you do? Just send them, how many different ways you can send them thank you cards. So listen, thanks for spending. So we got into this giving business. How much can we give to the person?
Well, how did that work? How did it work out?
Beautiful. So we start scaling business when we got into this giving business instead of selling business. That's the true story that, we 3-4 years ago, we were frustrated. We did that out of frustration. We were just frustrated, not making a progress. And we're simply saying, listen, forget about the sales business.
Isn't it funny isn't it hilarious in a twisted way how frustration caused you to go toward common sense?
You got it.
Let that one sink in for a second.
Yeah.
You got so frustrated that you finally woke up.
Yeah.
And said, wait a minute, why don't we just become value? If you ever read my book, The Social Media Sales Revolution, there's a term that I use in that book over and over. It's value generator. That's what you did. You became a value generator. You didn't give away the store. You didn't make stupid decisions, but you went from a sales model to a service model.
Yeah.
That's what I teach my clients. Yeah. And there's an irony. When you operate from a service model, you will sell 10 times more than when you operate from a sales model.
Well, the goal is the person in front of you, how many different ways you can add a value to the person, right? So the goal is not how can I sell the person, how many different ways I can add a value to. Maybe I forgot about something. Let me send them that, 2 days later. Maybe I forgot something. I'm going to send them this is going to add a value. So you just find out 20, 30 different ways you can add value to the person instead of trying to sell them something.
Isn't know-like trust just another word for value?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it, right? I mean, you delivered so much value that they couldn't ignore you.
Exactly.
So sometimes people ask me, Kevin, how do I succeed in business? Deliver so much value that they can't afford to ignore you. Yeah. Now, that sounds like a wise ass kind of answer, but it's actually accurate. If I deliver so much value to you, at a certain point, you're going to just say to yourself, I can't ignore this guy. There's too much value I'm getting.
But it's a hard work, though. Other way around, I know it's a shortcut way. You're not going to be successful. That's simply, pitching, but it is delivering value is a little bit more hard work. Definitely rewards, you're not looking at the rewards, but definitely it's a hard work. You have to put a lot of thought process in. You have to understand the other person. You have to, it is a little bit harder work, would you say?
I'm not denying that it's hard work, but I am going to point out it's less hard work than most people believe it is. There's an irony here. Fast is slow and slow is fast. You can't build a relationship with somebody at Mach 5 with your hair on fire.
Yeah.
So there's an irony here. The fastest way to get to where you want to go in business is actually to slow down. Because when you actually slow down and connect with people, it appears initially like, oh, we're slowing down. No, you're not. You're actually building rapport, and you will get so much farther faster on the back end. See, I'm going to sound like a philosopher, but I'm not trying to be a philosopher. I'm not trying to be a philosopher, but I'm going to sound like a philosopher for 10 seconds. You want to know the number one reason why most people struggle in business? It's because they don't understand how life works. They're trying to shortcut the natural order. That is insane. If you had walked up to Rita and kissed her the very first time, you would have gotten slapped. And you should have gotten slapped.
Mm-hmm.
If you look around at the business world, what you see is people getting slapped all day long because they're literally walking up to the Ritas of business, and they're not only trying to kiss them, they're trying to use tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And then they wonder why, how come our marketing's not working? Because it's not marketing. You're shoving your tongue down a stranger's throat. Why don't you build a relationship? It doesn't have to take 5 years.
Yeah.
But when I send you a LinkedIn invitation and I use your first name, which most people don't, they just send you these blank, you probably get LinkedIn invitations like I do all day long from strangers.
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea how people don't understand how life works. If you understand how life works, then business is part of life. This is easy. The only reason that somebody would say, oh, but it takes hard work. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you think life was easy?
Yeah.
By the way, life is easy.
Yeah.
But as soon as somebody says, well, it's going to take a little time and effort.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're looking to win the lottery. I'm the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because there is no lottery.
Yeah. Building meaningful relationship takes time. Definitely, you got to slow down. It takes time. It takes years and years by the time you build those meaningful relationship with people.
But if you understand you're in the relationship business, you understand that that's what you signed up for.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Very interesting. So talk about your journey, Kevin. How did you get so good at this? This building a relationship and connecting with the people. If you can share your background, how do you get so good at this?
Real fast. And thank you for your kind words. I used to be a piano player in New York City in the early 90s, completely different line of work. Started having kids, got married, realized I needed to make more money. I was forced to get into sales because I couldn't find anything else. I was blessed that I had some mentors that taught me that long-term success in business and sales comes down more to people skills than your product knowledge. So I got Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People to improve my people skills, read it over and over, ended up becoming the top salesperson in the world for 4 different companies in 4 different industries, got on LinkedIn 60 days after it launched in 2003, started using it as a sales tool, had no intention of becoming an international speaker, writing books, speaking around the world, started using it in sales. People started to see that I was doing well with it. They started asking me if I would coach them. In 2009, I left my corporate sales job. And for the last 13, 14 years, I've been asked to speak in about 1 city per week, someplace around the planet. But ironically, I'm considered one of the top social media experts. But calling me a social media expert is like calling Picasso a canvas expert. It's like calling Mario Andretti, the race car driver, a stick shift expert.
Yeah.
Do I know a lot about LinkedIn? Sure. But if I taught you everything there was to know about LinkedIn, that's really not. See, here's my telephone. I could spend all day long teaching you how the electronics in my phone work. That is not going to improve your conversation skills one bit.
Mm-hmm.
If I spend 5 minutes showing you how the phone works and 2 hours showing you how to have better conversation skills, you're going to use the phone a lot more effectively.
Yeah.
So there's an irony here. The way I've gotten good at this stuff is I've focused 99% of my attention on people skills, conversation skills, relationship building skills. And there's plenty of resources out there to learn that stuff. And I've focused maybe 5 or 10% of my time on what's the newest bell or whistle they turned on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Most people do just the opposite. They get seduced by, oh, LinkedIn just turned on this new feature or that new feature, and they forget if your conversation skills suck, it doesn't matter what the communication tool is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to suck an email or in text, whatever you use, right? These days, it doesn't matter what technology you use.
That's it.
It's just going to get it worse, actually.
Exactly. It's just that if your conversation skills are not good, you get on social media, more people are going to learn faster that your conversation skills are not good.
Yeah.
Well, all roads lead to conversation and relationship building skills.
Wow.
Anybody that would disagree with that is naive on how life works.
Yeah. Very interesting. And you know what, we have a sales team. Definitely we train people all the time, but this is a one area where, and very hard to train unless somebody has an open mind, they want to learn about this, right? So
that's true.
This is the one of the area that you could teach all the sales process you want to. You can teach all the digital skills, marketing, social skills. Unless you got good at this having a human to human conversation, you don't make any progress no matter what you do.
Gurmeet, you and I, we're not the wisest people on earth. I don't claim to be Solomon, but you and I both know that the hardest part of any business is finding the right people.
Yeah,
and it's always going to be that way.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter how good the teacher is if the student is not willing and eager.
Yeah.
So this kind of goes back to the question you asked earlier. If I was running a business with 300 employees or whatever, I would be weeding those people out as fast as I humanly could. If they are not willing to invest, I don't mean money, but if they are not willing to put the time and the effort into improving their conversation and relationship building skills, I'm going to let them go, because I know it's only going to be temporary until they go.
Yeah.
I am going to focus my attention on the people that understand that it's about know, like, trust, and don't just talk a good game, but they actually put some time and effort into deepening their skills. It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
The employee wins, I win, and the customer wins. There's no downside.
But it's not an information you can give them, right? If they gotta drill and rehearse that over the time, right? It has to be ongoing part of your business. You cannot just do seminar one time and just say, okay, I'm gonna be good at this stuff.
It's just like joining a gym.
Yeah.
If you joined a gym, I don't care how busy you are. Kevin, I'm so busy I can only go to the gym 1 hour a month.
Yeah.
Good luck. Okay. I would suggest
save that hour.
Don't go to the gym 1 hour a month. Even if you only went to the gym 5 minutes a day, just 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You're going to get infinitely more benefit from the gym over the course of a month than trying to cram. Again, am I not just describing an understanding of how life works?
Yeah.
That's all I'm describing.
Yeah.
We literally have people that we look at as really intelligent people that are idiots when it comes to how life works.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of evidence to show it. Well, Kevin, I understand LinkedIn's good, but I don't have time for it. That's like saying, Kevin, I understand exercise is good, but I don't have time for it.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Very interesting. As I said, you got such a wealth of, there's so many gems, there's such a wealth of knowledge. I learned so much from you, Kevin.
Well, I learned from you too, Gurmeet. Thank you.
Thank you. You've been generous, but there's so much wealth of knowledge. And the business leader watching, I will definitely encourage, hey, listen, I'll reach out to you, connect with you, and learn from you. We all need this area to polish a little bit. We all need to get better, because everybody trying to build a company, trying to build their trust with the customers or with the with the vendors. It's just a challenge that we just gone through distractions for the last couple of years. But we definitely have to get better at it. I think our business leaders, they want to grow a company, they gotta read your book, and they gotta talk to you. So where can people find you and how they can connect with you, Kevin?
Thank you. Well, the irony is, no matter, as technology continues to advance, the people side of business is even more needed.
Yeah.
Right? There's an irony there. So I'm very easy to find. Anybody could type my name into Google, Kevin Knebl, Knebl, 5 letters. It really sounds like it needs another vowel.
Yeah.
They can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm on YouTube. I've been on all those platforms for well over a decade. They can go to my website, even though it's a little outdated. I need to update it. But I'm certainly not in the witness relocation program. I am easy to find.
I'm going to include a link to all the social media below the video as well, Kevin. Where can they find your book? Is it on Amazon or is it on your website?
Yeah, just go to Amazon, type in Kevin Knebl, and you'll see Social Media Sales Revolution. And that's very simple. And I do build some time into my calendar on the days that I'm not on an airplane or a stage. I build some time into my calendar to do some pro bono coaching. Okay. So if anybody wants to schedule a Zoom meeting with me or anything, I'd be happy to take you by the hand. I am asked to speak in about a city a week all around the world. So I travel a lot. So if somebody says, Kevin, I'd like to get an hour on your calendar, we might schedule a little bit out in the future, but I give you my word as a gentleman, we'll schedule it. It just might not happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if anybody wants to spend some time with me, I don't do that as a clever marketing funnel for my services. I don't do it because I'm trying to save the world. I do it because that's how I show up in the world. I operate from a service model. How can I serve? I find when I serve, good things happen. When I'm focused on selling, not as many good things happen. And actually, when I serve, I sell a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, very interesting. Hey, there was so much to learn from you. Any word of wisdom you want to leave with the audience? People who are watching, business leaders who are watching, CEOs who are watching. Anything you want to share? Any message you want to share with them before we go?
Thank you for asking. I'll give you the simplest tip.
Okay.
I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. Go get Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Oh, Kevin, I read it before. Read it again. Read it again. Read it enough times so that if somebody put you on trial and accused you of having read that book, there would be enough evidence to convict you.
Yeah.
Because if a person gets really good at the principles that Dale Carnegie's pointing at, they are going to succeed at whatever they do.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah, I want to acknowledge you for the time you spent with me. I think I'd taken a little bit more than we talk about. But hey, right. Any chance Canada's in your roadmap for speaking gigs? Any time that you're coming to Canada for any of your talk?
I don't have anything on my calendar right now, but it's just a matter of time. I've spoken in Canada many times, and it's just inevitable that sooner or later I will. But the next time I'm in your part of the country, I'm coming over to your house and I'm drinking all your Molson.
Yeah, you gotta do that. Actually, we are building studio in a new office, so it'd be great to sit down with you if you ever come to this part of the world. Definitely, look forward to that.
I would love it. Gurmeet, thank you so much for having me. This has been a pleasure.
Likewise, thank you so much for your time. I learned so much from you, and I hope we'll talk soon, Kevin. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Yeah.